Hey guys, today I'm pleased to finally present to you my completed RE100 Efreet Shabh. I guess it does have a little bit of a different name. I named it that for a particular reason. I do have a story that I kind of just made up for this kit. It does, as far as I know, fit into the canon, so I'll show you guys that in here in just a bit. I'll put that down in the information down below the video as well, and I'll put it in the video here at the end of, after I talk about this, then I'll just show you guys a montage of video of it, and then I'll put that in there as well for you guys. So anyway, this was part of a build-off that I did with a bunch of other YouTubers. There was Simon at Gundam UK, Justin, Justinius Builds, Jabman025, Ed at the 00 Gundam Reviews, and Strider Prime. We all built this. I was extremely late. They're all like long done with theirs. Mine has been done actually for a few weeks, and I just haven't got it in front of the camera here for you guys, but finally getting around to this. And mine was just late just because I'm just busy and life and all of that, and I was waiting for the decals for a long time to get these decals for it. I'm gonna go over everything that is like sort of custom about this first. So I guess since I'm on the topic of decals, I did use I believe all of these are all 1/144 scale decals, so the decals are all going to be pretty small. They're all meant for 1/144 scale kits. Some of them were like leftover from other 1/144 scale Zaku decals for like custom Zaku. And other ones are from 1/144 scale versions of the real type waterside decals that come in like the old 1/100 real type kits. So they're just like scaled down versions of those. So I wanted to use these smaller decals because I think they look a little bit more realistic, and I was going for that sort of real type color scheme, kind of real type design with this. So I hope that comes through, and I think it does. The colors here, just to go over them, I think I went over them in a work in progress video, but I just used that kind of dark green color for the majority of it. For the top of the chest and the shoulders there are in a really deep dark red color. I think that red is called Whole Red from Mr. Hobby. I really like that color quite a bit. And then there's some very dark gray, like almost black for some parts, and then some like lighter gray in other areas. So let me give you a look around here. So I'm very pleased with how the colors came out. I stuck to pretty much the same like color pattern from the kit, but obviously just to change them all up. So a few things that I did for customization here on the sides of the legs. Yeah, I got rid of the missile pods and just switched those off with, those are actually leftover parts from a HGUC Kshatriya. So they're meant to be beam cannons, but on mine they're meant to be vernier, so I think they still kind of look like beam cannons, but hopefully they look like verniers. They're on the shoulders as well. I left the spike on the top, but the front and back spikes I also switched off for those parts that are meant to be verniers. Again, I don't know. Let me know if you guys think they look like that or if they still look like beam cannons. But inside the shoulder there, I kind of cut and reshaped that. It's just like a straight line, but I cut out a little bit of that to change the shape of that part inside the shoulder. Also added a little vent piece inside there. Now on the backpack, obviously it was 2 swords on one side. I changed that part, I just sort of modified that a bit to hold both swords on one side, and then on the other side I added that fuel tank to give it a little bit of asymmetry and just a little bit more realism there with the fuel tank, as this is supposed to be a space type mobile suit. And then, let's see, other things. On the arms, the little missile launchers there in the arms, I got rid of the missile parts and then made those into like little Vulcan machine guns there in the arms. You can't really see it in this angle, but I'll show you another angle here in a bit where you can see there's just little gun barrels there in the arms instead of the missiles. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of like actual physical modifications. The hands, I switched out the hands. The front part on the crotch there is just the lower vent, but I added the upper vent as well. You get two. You have like some extra parts in the kit, so I just added that there on the front skirt to just make 2 vents there instead of just the one lower one. Anyway, the hands, I didn't use the hands that came with the kit. I used the MS-HD Builder Parts hands, 1/100 scale Zaku or Zeon type hands for this. For those, I did have to modify those a little bit as well. Like for the closed fists here or holding hands, or closed fist hands, they have like a filler section in the middle. I cut that out because it looked bad. So now it just looks like it's just fingers there with no filler section in the middle. And then also for the open hands, I had to modify those as well because they didn't really fit what I wanted them to look like. So I'll show you those here in a minute. But otherwise, I think that's it for all the physical modifications. Now, other thing is for the painting. You can see some parts are a little bit shaded, and actually what that is highlighting. I tried to do some pre-shading with this, and the pre-shading didn't really show through. I think the paint, paint was just dark. These colors are just dark, and I think my painting was thick, or for whatever reason the pre-shading didn't show through too well. So then I went back and did some highlighting instead, where you just like add a little bit of a lighter color to the paint and then just sort of highlight the main sections, and it worked out really well. I think it's not super noticeable, but it's subtle, and I think it came out pretty well. Now, unfortunately, there are a couple of areas where a few of the decals are a little bit silvered, so you hopefully won't see that too much, but there are a few here and there where the decals are silvered a little bit. There also are a few areas where the top coat frosted up a little bit, just on some edges. So there are some imperfections here and there, and obviously it's not a perfect kit by any means anyway, but there are a few things that ended up being a little bit disappointing, but overall I'm really happy with this, how it came out. For the mono eye there, I just painted that in bright pink. I was originally thinking about using some Aurora film. You can get like the little circle, they're already like pre-cut little circles of just like Aurora film for that. I was thinking about using that, but decided just to give it just the pink there. For the fuel tank on the back, I did have to scribe those panel lines on that. That was just like, I had to totally reshape that piece. That's like some option parts you can get from Wave fuel tanks. I had to cut it down to the size that I wanted, and then scribe those panel lines on that as well. So I believe that's all. So okay, let me give you a look at what else I've got here for this. So got a few different hand options here. This is a trigger finger hand. You can see there I had to add a little block of plot plate in there to make this so that it'll fit the handle. The handle on the gun that I have is a little bit small for these hands, so just added that in there so to have a nice tight grip on the handle of the gun. Then I have the two open hands, one for the left and one for the right. They're a little bit different. The one for the left here is just meant to just be just a regular open hand, but the way that the fingers are molded, they were not really like the shape that I wanted, so a couple of these I had to cut, and I just changed the angle of them a little bit, just a couple of the fingertips. Here on the right hand though, I changed these a lot more, so you can see these fingers are a lot more closed, because this is supposed to, I'm going to use this hand to just like hold up the rifle in a standing position, so when he's standing, just holding the rifle upwards like that. So I had to change the fingers so that they were open, but still like closed a bit. Also had to change the position of the thumb. So let me go back to the other hand here. This is how the open hands are molded. The thumb's just flat, straight out on the side, and this one I had to change it to more of an angle so that the rifle could fit there in the middle of that. So that's it for the hands. And then here I have the rifle. So this is just the base form of the rifle. I have a bunch of other parts that I'm going to add onto this here, but I like this just kind of on its own, just as like the base form, so like that it can be used just like this, basically just as like a huge beam cannon. But it's supposed to be a like full-on sniper rifle, so we'll show you that again once we add all the parts onto here. So this is just basically the Kotobukiya rifle that I showed off before. It's the strong rifle, and just a bunch of parts added to it. Like this is obviously a part from the HGUC ZakuAurelius kit. Just a couple other added parts onto there, that little fuel tank. Just some little hose parts, little vents and bars, and little just stuff added on here and there and everywhere, just to give it a more complicated look. Have this secondary handle here that folds out on the side of there. That's just taken from like some shield parts from, I don't know, leftover from the MG Red Warrior, I think, maybe something like that. Anyway, so just all of these holes here that you can see on the side, that's where all the stuff is going to be added once I add all of this stuff here to this. So just to give you an idea of the size of this, just this version of the rifle, before I add anything to it, is almost as tall as the Efreet itself. So that is pretty big. Let me give you a look at how this is going to look here. Alright, so let's get to adding some stuff onto this gun. So first, I have another handle. Well, I forgot to point out before there's a secondary handle on this side, so I guess this could be a primary handle instead of the underhand grip, like holding on the side. Here we have another handle though. This one's going to plug into right here on the side, so that can flip forward when not in use, and then out like that. And let's see, then we have this little guy here, whatever this may be. Let's say it's some sort of thing to help with the targeting. So let's say it's like a little targeting computer there, extra on the front of the rifle right there. And then we have to have a scope camera, so that's gonna go here on this side. Right about there, and get that lined up. Now obviously he's not going to be looking through this with this thing here behind that, but that can just be a camera, I suppose. And then we've got some support legs, so these will go one on each side underneath here. So those can be down for use like that, or when not in use, just fold it up and in like that. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit heavier now. Then I've got a disc radome here. This is just more Bandai HD Builders parts. Just paint that up like so. I'm gonna attach right here onto the side. There we go. And then that angle of this can move if I need, and then forward and back as well. But anyway, so we're almost done. Now I want to back this up a little bit because the next part is the long barrel. So here is, again, this is all from, or mostly from, the Kotobukiya Strong Rifle. I did extend this even longer though, so this is longer than what you get just from the Strong Rifle by itself. So here we go, there is the full rifle. As you can tell, it's very reminiscent of the Zeta Plus rifle. That was kind of the inspiration for this. So it's going to be very, very long now. Let me grab my ruler here, and this is just about 28 centimeters long, or if you're living in the United States, it's about 11 inches, so almost a foot long here for this guy. So here is the Efreet now with its full-length rifle, and it's pretty tall. Obviously can't fit it in the frame here, I have to let you guys see kind of the sides of my photo tent here. So sorry about that, but yeah, it's pretty tall, I have to say. I'm definitely liking this. It's pretty big. Obviously, it's not going to really be able to hold this in the hand. That rifle is so huge and heavy. The kit itself is pretty sturdy, but just unfortunately the joints just aren't strong enough to be able to hold up the weight of this. I'll try my best to get this in a firing pose. With all the handles there on that, I think I can figure out a way for it to be able to hold that, but honestly I'm not too sure, so I'll give it a try. But I guess that's pretty much it for this review of this final kit. I hope you guys like this. Thank you once again to the other YouTubers who participated. They're all friends of mine. So I'm glad that we were all able to come together and do this group build, and sorry to them and to all of you guys that mine was so late. Hope it was worth the wait here for you guys. Hopefully, I mean, it would be great to do another build off with a bunch of YouTubers again. Maybe make it like a biannual thing or something like that. We'll have to see. I will be doing another build off with another YouTuber very soon, but not like a big group. So we'll have to see about that anyway. So really fun build. I'm not really actually sure at the moment what I'm going to be doing with this kit as of now. I'm not going to be keeping it. I'm either going to be giving it as a gift or trading it or possibly selling it. I'm not sure. So if you are interested in possibly buying this kit, just stay tuned to my Facebook page. If that's the route that I do decide to go, I'll post about that on my Facebook page. And maybe mention it in a later episode of Gunpla News or something. But at the moment, I'm not entirely quite sure yet, so just stay tuned. But for me, just like the fun is just in the building process, and now I've got photo and video documentation of it, so I'd rather give it to someone or sell it to someone who will enjoy having it in their display. I've enjoyed working on the kit, so that's good enough for me. So, alright, with that, I'll give you guys the some more video of this, just some more video slideshow, and also the story behind this if you haven't already gone down to read that in the videos, in the information section down below. I'm pretty pleased with the story that I made up with this. I think it's pretty cool, little sort of fan fiction, I guess. So, thanks guys, thanks for watching, and liking, commenting, subscribing, and all of that. I do have a couple other finished builds I'll be sharing with you very shortly, and a couple other builds that are almost finished that I'll be sharing with you pretty shortly after that. So, yeah, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.